What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 9 of the Charge to the Top, here with Hereford FC, and today I have for you guys a live commentary coming at you against Cinderford away from home. And as you can see, looking at the league table, we're not where we should be and not where we need to be, but in truth, we've really not had that bad of a start to the season. Let's have a look at these opening fixtures. And as you can see, since last episode where we beat Dorchester 3-0, we've played quite well. You know, we've been unbeaten in the last 5 games. We've only conceded 2 goals. We've kept 4 clean sheets. But in truth, just the draws have kind of let us down. And after 5 games, yes, it's great to have 11 points. But at the same time, the 2 draws, we've really got to kick ourselves about. So anyway, immediately following the game against Dorchester, as you can see here, we took on Cambridge. We won 2-0 here. Good goals scored by Stevenson and Hansbury. Either side of half-time were what ensured us the win. It was a late goal in the end by Sean Hansbury, which guaranteed us the 3 points. But in truth, it was a game we dominated. And good to see Hansbury get a goal because, well, coming on off the bench, a little bit of pressure perhaps on his shoulders, and he did well to kind of rise to the occasion. In the next game, again, we didn't really shy away from scoring goals, but unfortunately, defensively, we were kind of poor in this game. It was actually 2-2 at half-time, and the game itself was fairly open in the first half. We definitely had the better of the second half, but alas, it was kind of too little too late, really, and 2-2 is how it finished. Anyway, following up that draw, we had another draw. And as you can see here, it finished 0-0 in a game where we had 17 shots, 9 on target, bossed possession, but we couldn't break them down. And, well, it's another game where we perhaps should be winning, and we haven't. And it has kind of had an impact, I guess, on where we sit right now in the league table. Anyway, the next game we had was against Hitchin. This was a little bit more comfortable, perhaps. 2-0 it finished. We were 2-0 up at half-time. A very good team performance all in all. And yeah, great to get the win there. And we finally followed up this run of results with a win against Leek. Perhaps the least convincing win I can recall while being at Hereford, particularly when you consider they were down a man. We did eventually steal it away 1-0. It was Stevenson with the goal. Jake Heath sent off in the first half for Leek, but they proved to be tricky customers. And in the second half, they really did step up to the occasion and give us a good game, despite being well a man down. So anyway, those are the games since the last episode. A few fewer than perhaps you may remember. Kind of last season, we did a lot more kind of infrequent episodes. I want to keep them a little bit shorter, a little bit snappier this year, but at the same time give you guys plenty of matches to cast your eyes over. And well, today we are going to be taking on Cinderford. They're currently 19th. With this game, obviously they're not the highest placed team in the world, but as you can see, Farnborough, Barton Rovers and Gloucester coming up. Some fairly big games there. I don't think we'll do the game against Gloucester because really I'm actually looking at the game against Chippenham as potentially being a big game to do next episode. They are currently unbeaten in the league with 5 wins. And well, if we just look at the season preview here, you can see that they are a little bit of perhaps a surprise package in some ways. They weren't predicted to be super high up in the table. In fact, predicted to be 20th. But they've had a fine start to the year and I think they'll be pretty stiff opposition next time around. So anyway, looking at the stats here, you may notice we have no players on the kind of goals, average ratings or assists. And that's really because, well, it's a combination of the fact we've not been scoring that many, but also it's kind of been well spread out, the goals. As you can see here, Darren Stevenson had the better of the goals, the young Jamaican player. He's been extremely good for us this year. Sean Hansbury's also chipped in with 3 goals of his own. Not a bad total for him at this stage of the year. Matty Hamilton, of course, our other striker, performing well too. 2 goals in 4 games for him, one of which of those games was on off the bench. And David Lynch, who's unfortunately out with a groin strain for 4 to 5 weeks, even he's come on and had a bit of an impact. He got a goal and an assist in the 2 appearances he made prior to his injury. So plenty of rotation going on there. Kind of looking beyond our team in terms of the average ratings, you can see Dan Preston had a very good start to his time at the club. He's been involved in every single game, the centre-back, and at 25 years old, he looks like he's going to be a very, very vital player for us, of course. Got a goal on his debut. Since then, he's really kicked on and looked like a fine piece of business in the centre-back position. Lewis Blackshaw also playing well. I feel like defensively we're a little bit more settled than perhaps we are elsewhere on the pitch. You can see, looking across the back line, really pretty much every player has been involved in every game so far this year, which is something that really can't be said for the rest of the team. So anyway, we are going to be, of course, going into today's game. As you can see, the previous match was an FA Cup game. As a result, we do need to just quickly sort out our bench because, well, in this tier, you only have a limited amount of subs. And it's a little bit annoying in truth because I feel like 5 subs really isn't enough to cover all your bases, but this is the team I think we're going to go with for today's game. I am actually going to play, I think, Jay Harris ahead of Duffman. Of course, Tyrone Duffer. I think that was Duffer, was it? It was Duffus. I'm sorry, Duffman. I'll call him Duffman. It's easier. But unfortunately, he's not had the greatest time in his opening few games. A 6.7 rating for him. Jay Harris, of course, another new addition to the side. 30 years old. He played okay in his debut. He's come on a few times as a sub. Today, we're going to give him a start in hopefully a game where he can perform well. But anyway, all in all, the team's looking fairly strong. We have made one new addition to the side, and you may have noticed him. It's this guy, Keenan Bennett. He's 18 years old, can play on either wing. He's joined us, and while my scouts seemed to predict, before I signed him, that he could be a championship player in the future. Now, whether or not that's the case, I don't entirely know. As you can see, very well suited to Vanarama National Football. Extremely pacey, a young winger, great natural fitness, good stamina, and actually, I think we might give him a debut today. Why not? Jaden Hall, I'm sorry, mate, but you are going to start on the bench. We're going to give Bennett a chance to see what he can do. You can see, formerly at Tottenham, not a bad player by any means, certainly at this level. And, well, maybe he can do a job for us out on the right-hand side. So yeah, let's get into today's game. As I said, we are taking on Cinderford today, a team who, they've not had the greatest start to the season. We are away from home. And you may have noticed we've got a few players struggling just a little bit with fitness, mostly just down to the kind of flurry of fixtures we've had as of late. Similarly to last year, the fixtures, particularly early on in this season, have been coming thick and fast, and as a result, rotation's been important, but at the same time, we just have such a strong core of players that when possible, I want to play those men, and well, we're going to do that again today. So we are away from home, we are playing in our red kit, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can have a good game here. Hamilton with the ball early on. Straight from kickoff, maybe? No, never happens. I always get my hopes up and they're always dashed. But anyway, hopefully this could be an action-packed game. Of course, last time out, 3 goals we got against Dorchester. Looking for a similar performance today. We need to avoid a draw if possible. This pitch is really, really long. Like, my match stats don't fit in. At lower league levels, if you don't know, the pitch sizes aren't regulated. Certainly in FM. And as a result, you get square pitches. Or in this case, you get really, really long pitches. This pitch is ridiculous. I need a wider monitor. How am I meant to show all the stats? This has never been a problem I've experienced in my life. Right. I guess they'll sit in the bottom corner there. So Cinderford, they're going to be obviously using their big pitch to their advantage, you'd think. They're going to be looking to maybe be quite pacey. Part of me wants to go more direct on this big pitch, if I'm honest. Or at least a slightly more mixed passing. So I think we will actually do that. And I think a higher tempo might be useful. We'll go to switch slightly deeper as well, rather than deeper defending. This pitch has thrown me for a loop, really. It's different, I guess you could say. But, well, what's not different and what is becoming a little bit of a habit, really, is the fact that it's 0-0. And, boys, not happy with your performance out there. We really need to step it up in the second half. A few players not looking too happy with the words I had to say. Matty Hamilton's had a shocker. Let's bring in Sean Hansbury at half-time. A 6.4 rating for Matty Hamilton. Hopefully Hansbury can come on and make a difference. Of course, as I mentioned, Hansbury, he's got 3 goals for the season. Perhaps a little bit unlucky to be starting on the bench again. But he's going to come on here. Hopefully he can have the desired impact, the young striker. He's got bags of pace, which I think is going to suit him well on this pretty big open pitch. You'd feel like as the game goes on, as teams get more tired, there might be a few cracks and gaps that start to open up. Jay Harris on a booking is a little bit of a concern, of course, the centre mid on defend. A player who, as I mentioned, he's not played that much since he joined us from Tranmere. We brought him in for Duffman for today's game. He's not played great, and neither has Dan Townsend either, unfortunately. And, well, we're not that far away from only having half an hour left in this game. The chances have been few and far between, but we are on the attack here. Keenan Bennett with the ball gives it to Townsend. I'm going to move the stats back over here. Hanbury scored, or Hanbury scored. I've been calling him Hansbury. It's Hanbury. Jack, sort it out. Learn to read. We're 1-0 up. And, well, it was a good goal in the end. The ball played inside. A nice little bit of interplay. And Hanbury, well, he got on the ball and he smashed it home. And, well, 58 minutes gone. It's not been a game full of chances, but with our second clear-cut chance of the game, we've finally taken the lead. And that's, I've got to be honest, a little bit of a relief, really. Good to see the sub, of course, having an impact. Dan Townsend lays it inside. Stevenson, the Jamaican, through ball. 2 strikers linking up nicely. And a little dinked finish into the top right corner. Very difficult for the defence to deal with. And the keeper to get anywhere near. And in the end, from that kind of range, Hanbury, you know, if he hits the target, you expect him to score. And he has scored there. Anyway, 28 minutes left in this game. They are on the attack. This game is not over. Cinderford just with the 1 shot on target so far, but they are the team on the attack. Haynes here hits it, and Driscoll probably should do better in goal and doesn't. And well, we are pegged back within 10 minutes. Not what we wanted to see. And, well, major questions perhaps got to be asked of our team and where we go from here in terms of system and tactics. I'm going to move right and Bennett higher up the pitch. They're going to go on attack. We're going to be more aggressive here. See what we can do. I just want to pause this real quick and work out where we can perhaps improve. Townsend's not had the greatest game. I'm a little bit concerned about Jay Harris on the booking, so I'm going to have to bring on Duffman. I think we'll save our last sub for now, but in truth, with the 5 sub system, I don't really have that many options. I could bring on Jaden Hall out wide on the right, maybe. But with the exception of that, yeah, we don't have a whole lot of choices. I guess I can move Bennett out onto the left and then bring in Jaden Hall on the right. I think we'll do that. We'll see how Keenan Bennett can get out on cutting in on his right-hand side, or on his right foot from the left-hand side. And we'll bring in Jaden Hall, a familiar face, to hopefully bolster our attack on the wing. But, well, they're on the attack again here, and oh my gosh, how has that gone in? They've just scored a screamer. I mean, it was quite good by Ethan Miller. I'll give him it. It was quite. I mean, if you didn't see it, watch now, because the throw-in shouldn't get to him, but, I mean, it's quite good, really. It's hit the crossbar, hit the ground, and hit the roof of the net. So you know he's hit it hard when that happens. The keeper, I want to blame the keeper. I can't really for that one, in truth. And, well, we find ourselves down a goal. We've not a whole lot of time left in this game, and it's been a game where you'd say we've probably been the better of the two sides, although neither team has shown too much to shout and scream about. We have no time in this game. We've kind of got to throw men forward at this point. Time is ticking away. Unfortunately for us, it's not looking like it's going to be a particularly great day in the office. We've got to push higher, I guess, and look to just be way more direct. Go route 1. Pump the ball into the box. We're going to have Hansbury and Stevenson looking for it. Let's see if we can make something happen. We don't have a lot of time in this game. Just 5 minutes. And, well, that time just seeping away now as, well, it looks like we might be crashing out of our unbeaten run and losing it here. Unless there's going to be a very, very late goal. Bennett to Hanbury. Hall plays it through. Stevenson, can you score? 30 seconds left. Narrow angle. Keeper stops it. He had time to cut inside. He chose not to. There was no one really up in support. And, well, with what is pretty much going to be the last significant touch of the game, we had a chance to draw it all square. Stevenson has bottled it. We're going to lose 2-1. And really, it's just an absolute screamer, which has been the difference. Unless Bennett can make something happen. He hits it. It's blocked. Back into the middle. Townsend. Someone shoot. I thought they'd given a penalty, but it's actually Jaden Hall with the foul. And on that note, the full-time whistle goes. Boys, not good enough, I'm afraid. A game that we were definitely the better team in. An absolute screamer from them. Saw them take the lead. And, well, the goal before that, perhaps Driscoll could have done better. Ethan Miller, though, man of the match performance by him. Fair play. Very good performance by him in the centre of midfield. Only 8 long shots. I wish he had worse long shots, because apparently 8 was good enough to score what he did. Either way, that goal result leaves us in 7th. Worth noting, we are 5 points now behind Basingstoke after just 6 games. Not ideal, but, well, you can see by the league table, no team's kind of running away massively with it. Yes, we've dropped a few points now. We've dropped 7 points out of a possible 18, which is really disappointing. But I don't want to panic yet, and I don't really need to panic yet. I feel like we've been a little bit unfortunate in today's game. I feel like the 2 draws are entirely preventable, and we were the better team in those games, and I'm hoping that we can just find a few goals in us, look a little bit more solid, perhaps defensively, although saying that, we've had 4 clean sheets in the opening 6 games. And I don't feel like goals have been a shortage either. I feel like, honestly, we've just been a little bit unlucky, and perhaps, you know, give us a few games, we can ride through this rough patch and come out good the other end. Anyway, the next game we will have will be against Chippenham. They have slipped down the table to 2nd, but they have got a game in hand, which is worth considering. So anyway, guys, that is going to wrap things up from me for today's episode. Hopefully you did enjoy. Not the result we were looking for, a defeat, something that I was kind of hoping we weren't going to suffer this early on in the season, particularly after the opening 5 games, but we'll ride with the punches. Hopefully we can continue to strengthen the side. Speaking of strengthening, worth noting that I am looking at a few potential players. I'm still trying to get in Jake Sinclair. Every day I look to him with kind of puppy dog eyes and hope he'll come back to us. I think he could be a big difference maker for us. In terms of the realistic transfers, you can see a lot of Premier League or former Premier League trainees not picking up clubs, and you'll notice bids submitted for a lot of these. These are actually trial trials, and there may well be more players on the horizon joining us on a more permanent basis. There's some good players here. I want to get some scout reports on them. I want to give them trials. I want to give them opportunities in the club, and of course these are all players who my scouts have been flagging up to, and well, looking through them, there's some pretty useful players here I could think could be pretty good. Players like Joe Willock, former Arsenal trainee. You know, he's realised he's not going to get a move elsewhere. Perhaps it wouldn't be a bad move to come to us. OT here, former Tottenham player, again, could be a very useful addition. Players, these guys, they're all going to be joining us on trials if they choose to accept, which I imagine they will. I don't want to get too bloated a squad, but if I have to spend all the money we have and kind of end up with a huge squad in order to go up, it's perhaps a price I'm kind of willing to pay. Speaking of prices, you can see here financially, we look okay, £172,000 in the bank. Can I ask for any more money? I can for transfer budget. I can't stress how important I believe this to be. We might get left behind by our rivals. Okay, we're not getting any more money. It was worth a try. So we've got a little bit of a limited wage budget to deal with, although I can reshuffle that perhaps a little bit. It doesn't really make a massive difference. But there's some money to maybe getting 1 or 2 more players at least. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up this episode from me. As always, if you have enjoyed, leave a like. If you've got any comments, feel free to leave them down below. I am going to look at the tactical system, how we might be able to improve for the better, but I do want to persevere with this 4-4-2. I don't feel like it's let us down too much. I feel like what's not been an ideal start this season could have been a lot worse, and I feel like, as I've said already, we've just been very unlucky, and it's easy for me to say that after 6 games if we're sat here going into the Chippenham game still struggling, you know, with 10 games on the board, then perhaps we have to kind of reflect, panic a little bit, and look to make some changes when it comes to our overall arching system here. Anyway, that is going to be all from me. Thank you for watching, guys. As I said already, if you've enjoyed, leave a like. If you've got any comments, leave them down below. And other than that, it is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.